What up, senpais? This is Dre with Yokoso Otaku, and today we are going to be talking about Shin Megami Tensei 5 in relation to being a new player. But first off, before we get started, I want to talk about this guide. This guide is a starting point and is not definitive, but is made for those who are new to Shin Megami Tensei or just new to SMT5 and the changes that have come within the game. This guide will be broken into parts, and if you guys would like, you can check out the timestamps below to jump to the section that will be most relevant for you. I do appreciate you guys checking it out, and I hope I can help you guys through your navigation of this wonderful world and amazing video game series. SMT is a game where players are generally at a disadvantage, and they must find a way to gain an advantage through the battles, otherwise they will get completely wrecked. Luckily for us, though, the game has a multitude of systems which can be used to gain advantage in these situations. First thing I want to talk about is the press turn system, which is a staple of the SMT series. The way that the press system works is during battles, if you score a critical or hit weak points, you can gain what they call a press, which allows you to get another action in the round to be taken. And if you can do it with your entire party, you'll actually technically get to have 2 turns during your round. This is, of course, a huge advantage and is pretty much necessary in some of the stronger battles, as it will allow you to greatly increase the damage that you can output in the game, as well as give you more turns for buffing and debuffing. Speaking of buffs and debuffs, they can be absolutely critical in bigger battles. Buffs and debuffs can be implemented to a stack of up to 2 and last for 3 rounds. Doing something as simple as reducing the physical or magical attacks that enemies do can often be the difference between you getting insta-killed and just getting hit and requiring a heal during the next round. Another function of the game that can be used to your advantage is the Magatsuhi, which I often refer to as the Magatsuhi. Magatsuhi is pretty similar to limit breaks in the other popular RPG series that you've probably heard of. Magatsuhi gauge must be built up to maximum before you can use your Magatsuhi skills, and you can do so starting off by having your turns in combat pass or by collecting Magatsuhi crystals in the real world. Magatsuhi are important skills which can be leveraged to drastically turn the tides of battle when used strategically. Initially, the character only has 1 Magatsuhi skill, which gives everyone a critical hit for the round. This guarantees press turns, and by using skills the enemy is weak against, you can cause massive damage in a single turn. Later available Magatsuhi allows for large damaging attacks, heals, or buffs and debuffs. The Nahobino Blade. So if you guys have seen anything about the game or you've played it yourself, you're definitely aware that you have a blade attached to your hand as the Nahobino. Using the hand blade, the main character can attack enemies in the overworld in order to strike first. It's not a guarantee, but it increases the chances of getting the first attack. Mitama are crescent-shaped demons that come in yellow, gold, blue, and red. These demons drop unique items which are powerful to use to your advantage. Yellow will gain you money items which you can sell. Gold will get you items to insta-level your MC. Red will get you an item to insta-level a demon. And when you defeat blue Mitama, you can gain an item which earns you glory. In the main world, you'll have 2 main objects which you'll be looking for. One is a white glory fountain. It looks like a white swirling animation around a box, and interacting with it grants you a large amount of glory. For starters, you get 50. The other object that you'll find in the world quite commonly is gold boxes. These are treasure chests, and when you open them, you can find some pretty great items inside. The biggest and most powerful function in the entire game is the Demon Fusion system. I could, and many others have, created entire videos dedicated to Demon Fusion, but we're going to cover some of the basics in this video just to get you guys started. Demon Fusion allows players to take multiple demons and create another up to the maximum level of the MC. This isn't Pokemon, and you're not trying to cultivate a best friend which you'll keep forever. Demons literally have a certain amount of usefulness to them, and once they're done, they're basically best for just fusion fodder to get more powerful demons, which will push you ahead farther in the game. All demons will outlive their usefulness as they run out of new, more powerful skills to use. There's a couple different types of fusion that you guys will notice. Dyad fusion allows you to fuse 2 demons from your party to create a brand new demon. Reverse dyad shows you a list of the possible demons you could make from what is in your stock. So you'll choose the demon, and then it'll give you a little list of the different demons that will make that demon, and you can choose which ones you want to use to create the demon of your choice. Finally, there's a reverse compendium, which shows all of the possible demons from your entire compendium stock. Now, you have to remember that when you pull demons from your compendium, it costs money. So you will need some money for this event, but this is a very, very powerful tool that you can use to create some really powerful demons and push you ahead in the game. Just to give you guys a brief idea of things to consider when fusing demons, the reasons why you would want to fuse a new demon and why they're more powerful, even if they don't seem like they are at the beginning, is their skill set. So you want to look and see if they have skills that are really useful for maybe an upcoming boss fight or a type of enemy that you're going to be fighting a lot in the future. You also want to know what their skill bonuses are, so which skills that they have that are more powerful than others to gain an advantage in the battles. You want to also be aware of any future skills that they might be able to learn. In the bottom right of the screen, you'll actually see a little area which will show what kind of skills that they're going to learn as they level up, and you want to pay a lot of attention to those, because often when you fuse a demon, you only have so many skills available at the time. But as they level up, there might be something in there that is truly special and unique that's going to help you gain the advantage. And finally, you're going to want to look at what their type advantages and disadvantages are, because if you're going to fight an enemy that is using a lot of electric attacks, you want to make sure that you have demons that are resisting that. By resisting them, you'll also get those press turns, so it's really important. The opposite happens though too. If they're weak to something and the enemy hits them, the enemy will get the press turn, and that could turn the advantage completely against you very quickly. While you're in the world of shadows, you can also look at your essences. Essences are a very big part of SMT5. You can obtain essences from demons, quests, or even treasure chests. You can only hold one essence per demon at a single time, and the essences have a single use. You can use an essence to either learn a skill or to modify type advantages and disadvantages. You want to pay a lot of attention to this, because sometimes you're going to need to use a certain demon to get a type advantage over that next boss that you're going to fight. Other times you're going to want to learn really powerful skills that will help you have the advantage. And sometimes you'll be using a mix. You can only choose one of those actions per essence before having to collect that same essence from that demon again. Last thing that you'll find of massive importance in the world of shadows are miracles. Glory, as previously mentioned, is the currency to buy miracles, and miracles come in a variety of choices to help the MC become vastly more powerful. The different things that you can learn from miracles are to upgrade how many demons you can have in your stock, or how many skills you and your demons may learn. There may also be some stuff in there that allows you some advantages as far as having more powerful skills that you use, getting those +1s and +2s out of the skills that are available to you. Finally, the last major game mechanic I want to talk about are demon negotiations. So during fights with demons out in the real world, you can have an ability to speak with them and try to get them to join you or give you items or maca even. If you succeed but your stock is full, you'll need to make space and then encounter the demon again. So if you guys are worried about, oh no, I got this demon to say he'd join me and then I didn't have any room in my inventory, just remember that you just have to go find him again after you've cleared up your stock. And once you run into them, he'll talk to you and he'll say, hey, I was going to join you. Do you have room for me now? And he'll join you. So the next big section for gaining an advantage in this game and for making your experience a little bit smoother is for us to talk about some of the items that can be used in the game. We'll start off with Shards and Gems. You can find different Shards and Gems which pair with elemental skills. You'll use them during battles to cause elemental damage to either all the foes and only do a little bit of damage, or focus on just one target. Shards are used to do small damage to all, and gems are used for large damage to one. Shards and Gems are helpful in two big scenarios. The first one is if you have to, on the fly, compensate for skills you don't have during a fight to gain an advantage. The other is when you discover Mitama's weaknesses and you don't have the skill to use, you can always use a shard or a gem to attack that and get the kill. The next one I want to talk about is one that I resisted to use for quite a while, but in some of the more heavy boss fights, I can't tell you how much these come in handy. So the next one that we want to look at is Dampeners. They're extremely powerful, but also very limited items that protect the entire party from one type of damage for one turn. It's vastly advantageous to block a boss's Magatsuhi attack. So if you're fighting a boss and it says that he's gathering Magatsuhi and you know what kind of skill he's going to use, because the Magatsuhi skills are often extremely powerful. The bosses use them and they can nearly wipe your team completely out in just one single hit. So if you know it's going to be a fire skill, on the round before, you can use a fire dampener, and then when he casts that skill, it will actually block the entire thing, and it can be a huge step ahead in those battles. The last item I want to talk about are Spyglasses. These are very important items that you can use, and once again, this was something that I resisted a lot at first to use too much, but can be extremely helpful in certain situations. So Spyglasses will reveal the full information on a single enemy. It will tell you what kind of skills that they have, what their advantages are, what their disadvantages are, and you can really use that to try to leverage these battles to your advantage. The main use that I find for Spyglasses are used with Mitama. So when you encounter them out in the wild, there'll be only one skill that each of them will be weak to, and in order to find that out the best without losing your turn and possibly having them escape is to use a spyglass. It will show you what they're weak against, and then you can leverage that to your advantage, defeat the enemy, and get the item that you need. The next section involves DLC, which I briefly wanted to talk about. There's basically two types of DLC that they have offered right now that can help you out a lot. One of them is free and one of them is paid. Starting with the paid DLCs, there are multiple DLCs which you can get, which will increase the Mitama spawn rate. If you buy this DLC, you can go into the settings and see that there's a section that talks about each of the Mitamas for XP, glory, and money. You can set these to either standard, which is the lower spawn rate, or increased, which is the DLC spawn rate. When you increase it, you will see Mitama literally everywhere in the entire game. The entire maps are just completely saturated with them. You will be able to find them everywhere, and you can grind them very quickly and very easily. Personally, I find it helpful to lower everything to standard other than the ones that I'm trying to get at the single time. That way it'll increase the spawn rates for the ones that you want, and you can spend less time trying to avoid the ones you don't want on the map. The second DLC is also part of the next section, which we'll get into, and that is the safety difficulty DLC. And when you buy this DLC, when you start a new game or while you're playing, you can actually change your difficulty to a really lowered difficulty mode known as safety. And with that said, we have different difficulty modes in the game, which we'll talk about next. There is safety, casual, normal, and hard. The safety difficulty mode is an absolutely mindless, easy playthrough. When I did my trials with it just to see how much it affected the game, I took something that took me 15 hours to do and I did it in less than an hour. I was almost at level 20 at the time when I got to that point in the game, and when I was on safety mode, I was level 7, and it was much easier than it was at level 20. I do not suggest using safety mode. However, it might be very useful if you want to use it for grinding and getting extra levels and extra money without having to purchase any of the DLC, because the Mitama DLCs do cost money. So this would be a free way to get similar effects, but I would caution against using it during any actual gameplay itself because it alters things way too much. The harder difficulty over safety is casual mode. So casual mode is a very slight step down from normal. And in any testing that I've done, it seems to have just only really made changes in RNG. So luck will be a little bit more on your side. You'll get a little bit more XP. Your attacks will do just a little bit more damage to enemies, and enemies will have just a little less health than normal. Normal mode is the next one up, and it is the most suggested starting point for new players. I feel like this personally myself, but you'll also find a lot of people online telling people, if you're going to start this game, start on normal mode, see what the game offers, try to work through it as much as you can, and you're really going to get the full experience of this game and the challenges and the good feelings from overcoming these challenges by starting on normal mode. I believe that normal mode offers a very fair gameplay, and it has difficult challenges, but they can be overcome by most people as long as you just take a little bit of a good effort to kind of plan teams out and use items strategically. And the last game mode that is offered is hard mode, and it is preferred by many longtime players. It generally offers very brutal challenges, even in a regular overworld fight. If you've ever played Nocturne before, you can absolutely understand how crushing hard mode can be, and SMT5 is no exception to this. So in conclusion, I want to say that the game is challenging, but it can be accomplished with some effort and understanding of the tools that are available. It seems really daunting at first, and it is a little bit of a departure from what you find in a lot of RPGs, but trust me, if you just spend a little bit of time working with the mechanics, you will be able to overcome these challenges, and it will not be too challenging. Worst case scenario, you grind a little bit of Mitama, you get your teams boosted up a little bit more, and you go back into those fights to make them a little bit easier. but I highly suggest starting on normal mode and just trying to work things as much as you can to your advantage to get the idea of what this game series is truly about and what makes it so wonderful to so many people. I think SMT5 is a really great place to start with. It has an abundant amount of features. Its beautiful dark world, incredible story, and interesting characters along with moral dilemmas and engaging combat really make this game something truly unique and special. I know we've had a lot of people ask about this game, and a lot of people are kind of, have expressed their worry to me that maybe that this game is too much for you, but I highly suggest that anyone tries it. At the absolute worst case scenario, there is DLC that you can use to make your experience a little bit easier, or you can spend a little bit of time grinding and kind of working through these challenges as well. I come from a background of not playing extremely challenging games, and I actually don't really even prefer very challenging games at all. But there's something about this game that really drew me in, and over time, after playing it for the last 13 years, I've really started to understand these mechanics a lot and have a really high level of engagement with the series. It has some really unique themes and character development that you're not going to see in very many games out there, and I just really think that it's something that everybody should try out. If you guys have any questions or you think that I've missed anything, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear them and talk about them, and I'm sure that there's a lot of you that are watching this video that can also offer some advice or tips to those that maybe I didn't mention in the video. Hope you guys have a good one. I'll catch you on the next one.